Assalamu alaikum. We are having lecture number 10 of Pakistan Studies. The topic for this lecture is the 1937 elections, the Congress ministries in the provinces and their policies towards the Muslims. In this connection, we will be focusing on four major issues. Number one, the 1937 elections. Two, provincial governments, how these governments were formed. Three, their policies. Four, what was the Muslim response to the policies of these ministries. The Government of India Act 1935 was formulated after long deliberations that we have discussed in our previous lectures. We can go back to the Simon Commission report 1930, then roundtable conferences which were held in London, then the white paper issued by the British government, and after that the British Parliament deliberated on it and passed this law, the Government of India Act 1935, and then King signed the law and therefore it became Government of India Act 1935, under which these elections were held. The British government introduced only the provincial part of the Government of India Act 1935. The central part or the federal part was not introduced, only the provincial part was introduced. Therefore, the British government decided to hold provincial elections because only the provincial part was introduced. The Muslim League criticized the Government of India Act for a number of reasons. The same was the case with the Congress party. However, both the parties agreed to take part in the elections to make advantage of the opportunities that were being provided under the Government of India Act. Now let's take up the first topic or first issue, that is the 1937 general elections. These general elections at the provincial level were held on the basis of restricted franchise. The principle of universal adult franchise implies that citizens of certain minimum age are entitled to vote. That minimum age could be 21, 18 or 16, that is determined by law. But in case of 1937 elections, the British had put certain restrictions so that it was not a universal adult franchise. If you compare with the previous laws, the electorate had been extended, more people were given right to vote under the Government of India Act 1935 than was the case in the past. The second important feature of the 1937 elections was that the principle of separate electorate was observed. You would recall that the principle of separate electorate was introduced in 1909 under the Government of India Act 1909 by the British government on the demand of the Muslims. And since then, the principle of separate electorate remained effective, and this principle of separate electorate implied that the Muslims voters will elect Muslim representatives, that you elect the representative of your own community. That is what is separate electorate. For this election, Congress projected itself as an all India organization, an organization that represented all parts of India and all sections of Indian society. The Muslim League focused attention only on the Muslims. It contested Muslim seats, not the other seats, because it was claiming to be the representative of the Muslims. However, there were several other Muslim organizations, political parties in different provinces that also claimed to represent Muslims in their provinces. In this way, the Muslim League was competing for votes not only with the Congress, but also for a number of Muslim groups and Muslim political parties at the provincial level. The provincial elections were completed by February 1937. And if we look at the results of these elections, we find that the Congress party got clear majority in 5 Indian provinces. And the provinces where the Congress got very clear majority were Madras, UP or United Province as it was known at that time, CP, Central Province, Bihar and Orissa. These were the 5 provinces where the Congress had clear majority. In case of Bombay, it emerged as the largest political party. In fact, the Congress got 704 seats out of 1585 general seats reserved for non-Muslims. The Congress party was able to get only about 30 seats that were out of reserved Muslim seats. In fact, for Muslim seats were about 485 and the Congress got less than 30 seats. If we move from Congress to the Muslim League, what we find in 1937 elections is that the Muslim League also performed poorly. Muslim League was able to get only 21% of the Muslim seats. And the Muslim League did not get majority in any Muslim majority province. The province of Punjab, Northwest Frontier, Sindh or Bengal, which were Muslim majority provinces, the Muslim League did not get many seats. The Muslim seats in these provinces were won by local political parties, local Muslim parties or parties that had Muslim as well as non-Muslims. And Muslim League fared poorly in these provinces. For example, in case of Bengal, Punjab, NWFP or Sindh, the seats were very limited which the Muslim League got. In case of Bengal, it got some seats, but those were only a few seats. The most interesting situation developed in the province of Punjab, which was a Muslim majority province. Here the Unionist Party was leading and Muslim League got only 2 seats. And out of those 2 members that were elected on the Muslim League seat, one of them left the Muslim League and joined the Unionist Party the result was that the Muslim League was left with only one member in the province of Punjab. The Muslim League performed relatively better in Muslim minority provinces, but overall it was a weak performance. The reason was that Muslim League was still facing organizational problems. The Quaid-e-Azam returned to India from England in 1934, and he took command of the Muslim League and began to organize Muslim League. But 3 years, that is from 1934 to 37, was a brief period, and therefore the Muslim League was still facing organizational problems. Furthermore, the Muslim League was facing tough competition in Muslim majority provinces by other Muslim organizations and Muslim groups. Therefore, it could not establish its credentials in 1937 elections as the sole representatives of the Muslims of India. Now, let us take up the second part that deals with the establishment of provincial governments. The Congress had won clear majority in 5, and it was largest group in one more province. Therefore, it was able to form provincial governments in 6 provinces. However, the formation of the Congress ministries in these provinces was delayed. The provincial system was inaugurated on April 1st, 1937. But in case of the Congress provinces, the new ministries took over in July 1937. The reason was that the Congress wanted categorical assurance from the British government that the provincial governors will not exercise their special powers against the ministries. There was a dialogue between the British Indian government and the Congress High Command, and ultimately the British government gave a vague kind of commitment, not a very clear, but a vague kind of commitment that the governors will not interfere in day-to-day affairs of the government. So, this was a good basis for the Congress party to form the government, because they wanted to form the government. Now, in case of the provinces where Muslims were in majority, in all the 4 provinces, that is the Punjab, Northwest Frontier Province, Sindh and Bengal, non-Muslim League ministries were formed. In case of Northwest Frontier Province, the Khudai Khidmatgar party, that was the leading party there in the elections, formed the government, and this party, Khudai Khidmatgar, enjoyed the support of the Congress party. In case of Punjab, Unionist party led by Sir Sikandar Hayat Khan formed the government. In Sindh,